Hey, good evening.
Hi.
Hi.
Who was this?
It was me. Well, you know, I've got to keep up my reputation as a knob twiddler, right?
Yeah.
Hey, welcome everybody. Good evening.
Thank you.
Hi. Good evening.
Hey there. Hi, everyone.
I'm going a bit cross-eyed because so many people, so many faces watching now. So yeah, we decided to get together quickly tonight on Knob Twiddlers because this is nearly the entire group that will be together on Sunday when we do a really sort of epic experiment. We're going to join up the studios where Mike, Kami, and Fadi are sitting now. The WSNWG studio. Am I saying that? I keep forgetting that, Mike. Why is it so complicated? But anyway, your studio. We're going to remotely connect to you and Charlton, Colin, Robin, and also Megan and Fritz, who are not here tonight, are joining me here at Stoor, and we're going to do a marathon remote jam. So. It's going to be pretty intense experiment, but I think it's going to be epic. It's going to be great because you know the whole concept of connecting studios has been proven to work really well in the last few months. But always with people that you have like there's always some communication in advance, you know, like discussing music, getting the setup working, and all that stuff. And to just go blind next Sunday without ever having had all the faces together was I thought it was an extra handicap or risk factor. So I thought, you know, let's just chat and hang out and see what we can come up with for Sunday, and just say hi and kind of mentally prepare. So yeah, welcome. I'll just say welcome to everybody individually. Charlton, what's up, dude?
Chilling.
Do you have any food on order this time? Last time you had
no food today. No. I sorted everything out before we started to this time. So yeah.
Nice, very professional.
Yeah, professional. Yeah.
And actually, you are sometime during this chat you have another stream which was pre-recorded, right?
Yeah,
so,
true.
Yeah, maybe we'll drop it in the comments somewhere.
8:30.
Yeah. Oh, 8:30. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, we'll have.
Sure. That's just a bunch of interesting people playing, anyways. But yeah, I don't know how we're going to manage this.
Yeah, I think you already posted it in the private chat. So yeah. Sander will continue or we'll push it on to the comments. And then, of course, in Berlin, joining us, Mike, Fadi, and Kami. Hello, good evening.
Hi.
Very excited to be connected to you on Sunday. I've been talking to Mike in the past few days. He's getting everything out to be well prepared. And what did you get? You got a new camera, new cables. What?
A little new studio camera and
nice.
Little camera mixer. I don't want to drop the brand, but you know which one. And it's the first time with like multiple cameras and a mixer from our side. So it's going to be interesting, I think.
A lot of things to take care of, but I think we'll manage. You know, last time was the only big hitch we had last time was the firewall in your building. Yeah. That we had to disable, but other than that, I thought it was pretty smooth. So so we'll see. Should be cool. I see Colin doing a backwards moonwalk.
Sorry about that. I believe my cat was killing my other cat.
Oh,
just now,
cats!
so-
Well, please.
Okay.
Cats are good, man. Cats are really good for the
to break
views.
up that cat fight just now, so-
Well, if you have the chance, bring the cat on camera because it's gonna boost the views. You know.
I'll see if I can do it because the cat that I have here right now, he's a psychomaniac. So when you see me just being jerked away from the camera, then you know that it's the cat eating my toes probably. So the dude scares me.
So Colin, also welcome to the chat. Really nice
Yeah,
seeing you, man.
Thanks. Yeah, man. It's good to be back here, man. It's,
Yeah.
really looking forward to this session too. I haven't done any of the remote sessions at all yet, so I'm super curious to see how this is gonna pan out really.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, we talked about it when I was planning it. I think end of last season. You were here for real in the studio, like in person, last season, and we did a couple of jams, and I did a few others with you on your stream, and then blah blah blah. And I think we discussed it a few times, and every time, you know, you can explain it, but you never know until you really do it how it feels.
Exactly.
But it's a real strange thing in the beginning because. Yeah, you hear this music coming from your speakers that are not coming from your own studio, and that's the stuff that you are responding to and reacting on. It takes some time to get used to, but I think, you know, usually with me after 5 minutes, you just go with whatever you hear, you know, and it's
nice.
so yeah, it would be a nice experience, and
Yeah.
also really nice to see how you respond to it.
Oh man, I'm really curious to see how this is gonna work out because I guess that as soon as you are just kind of past that latency bump, because that's the only thing that I guess is gonna be mainly sticking out in a way. But I think from then on, it's just amazing to have so many awesome people in one massive jam. Like, yeah, this is gonna be crazy.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty epic. Well, that's the only extra factor that I haven't dealt with personally, maybe except for the one that I already did earlier with Mike and Colin, is that you have somebody locally that you can respond to as well, rather than just the stream coming into, you know, from the other studio basically. So, and you know, even though I've done it with a few people, there's always moments, you know, where either side thinks, where the hell is this kind of sound coming from, you know? So this is great to be
true, very true.
Yeah.
Was it me?
Yeah, exactly. Kill the right symbol. So we'll have to find a solution to maybe have some communication thing open, you know, sort of parallel to the music setup, so we can, you know, at least see each other or maybe wave, or I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, makes sense.
Anyway, so Robin is joining us as well. Hey, Robin.
Amen.
Always one of the early adopters whenever we do some crazy new projects at Stoor. So,
yeah, that's true. We've done quite some interesting, crazy stuff.
Yeah. So crazy
Awesome.
stuff is always really up your street. So
Yeah.
So really cool you're joining again. And
Thank you. For
actually,
having me.
actually, for people who don't know, Robin has been really helpful in the beginning, kind of sort of figuring out the whole Ninjam remote jam situation before we started it. So he's always been on the technical side of things as well. So very cool.
Awesome.
What are we going to do?
Somebody hear my phone?
Well, we have, I think we have, with all of us, we have an amazing and very wide sound palette, you know, that we can all improvise from. So, it can go in many ways, I think. But what Colin said as well is, man, I'm really, really looking forward to it. Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
I think it's gonna be amazing. That's.
Let's say hi to Fritz. Fritz is going to be here
Okay. Hey, Fritz.
anonymously.
Okay then.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So yes, one thing that is kind of a limitation or something we have to deal with is the tempo of the session. Because we've explained it a few times already on this chat. You know, the Ninjam system works with delaying the signal to both sides over the internet with a musical interval. That's the only way really you can deal with latency. If you connect two studios together, the music always has some latency, and the system kind of works around it by delaying the signal by 2 bars. So either studio will get the music from the other studio delayed by 2 bars. So, and for repetitive electronic music, that's not really a big issue. But once you change the tempo of the session in the system, the delay obviously also changes, because that changes the buffer size. And to do that in the middle of the session is a little bit messy and not reliable. So we have to pick one tempo, basically.
Right.
So we can have a tempo vote, maybe.
But is it also pick something ridiculous and then just half time?
Yeah, half time, double time, sure, of course. And we can go beatless, you know, just totally beatless is fine too. You know, you don't really have if you just ignore all the rhythmical elements and just do sound, you know, then it can be interesting for a long time without even thinking about tempo. But the tempo needs to be there in the background. It needs to be set for sure.
Yeah. And is it possible to start stop, like if you have a section and there you go, like, okay, this was a nice arc, let's increase the BPM by 5 or 10, and then you start again and it rebuffers, or is it?
Yes, but you have to change the tempo in the Ninjam application, and my experience is that you only reliably can latch onto the new tempo, or can trust that it's actually going to resize the buffer if you log out and log in of the server again. Whoa. So, which is, you know, it's
really complicated, mate.
No, it's
complicated.
I mean, you know, it's not really that complicated, because there's always going to be sound, you know. It doesn't mean that the sound in the studio stops. It just means that if once you log out, the other side cannot hear you until you log back in again, which is a few seconds.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the login and the logout will be noticeable in the 2-bar interval as well. Yeah. So, but there is going to be a tiny gap in that period. But you know, we can. You know, I'm up for it. But it's I would be more comfortable if we can test it in advance. You know, to see if that works. Yeah, I mean, we can. I mean, it is a pretty big restriction, I think, to set the tempo for the whole night.
I'm kind of thinking like we can, if we can figure out a way of communication between the two studios and and also at the same time work with something like drone intervals or whatever, or have the reset points be kind of accompanied by one of the two studios having a feature side. They can take some time to recalibrate everything, still have music going on, and then change your pitch or change the BPM. Or we just go for 60 BPM and just slow croon it all night. That sounds like fun too.
If we would have a way for the audience to change the tempo, that would be nice.
Yeah. Like this a real interactive thing, and then we have tempo changes all over the place all night. Yeah.
A BPM knob on your screen so you can pitch it up and down. You know?
Yeah.
Work.
But indeed, like, you know, an ambient part in between tempo changes, you know, that's, I think all of us are able to to provide on that. So it wouldn't be too much. Maybe let's test it, you know, in advance, you know, how that turns out.
Sense.
Yeah.
Or a delay.
But there you go,
but when it might be possible in the ambient bits, right? But you still have to be counting the 2 bars, and like if you have beatless music, it might not sound so weird when you change in the tempo. But I don't know how it works, you know. So Yeah, interesting.
Well, the music that we are broadcasting will just be continuous. You know, the audience will never know that we logged out to the server and logged in within a session tempo. So, yeah, we can try it. You know, if we test it and it seems to work, then some problem is solved. Then we can just make sections. You know, like start slower, or I don't know, have a slow bit in the middle or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, the thing is, like when we did the jam last time, like by the end, my drum machine stopped working, and I was not really able to get in sync back to you, because we also hear the sound coming from the sound card and the sound from the mixer. There is like also a slight delay, so I cannot really sync to you. So you have to get it back in sync to us.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, I'm usually doing that from my side anyway, so I don't think that's going to be a problem. But what do you mean, Mike? I guess you are still monitoring. Oh, okay. So you're monitoring the final mix, and you weren't taking notice of the tempo and all the movements that you were doing. Well, had a slight sort of few milliseconds
like
of
a
delay.
few milliseconds of delay.
Yeah,
but
okay.
when we are here, for example, when I want to pre-listen from the mixer, it's like total chaos with the sounds in the room.
Exactly, because you're pre-listening directly analog, while the rest is coming from the sound card. So you have this. So without the latency compensation, you cannot get everything in check again. But you could probably maybe alter the chain in such a way that you don't monitor the analog chain. And
no, actually, we don't do it. The problem is just we cannot really pre-listen to something from here.
Right. Yeah. No, that
so
makes
it's a bit weird. We can just open the faders, and if it sounds good, we are lucky. If not, I don't know.
Sounds good. Okay.
Roulette, man, roulette.
But Mike, what do you use as a master clock? Are you able to nudge that in any way or not?
I have Ableton here. I can nudge in Ableton.
Okay. Yeah.
The thing is that Fadi also has Ableton here, so we use the Ableton link between the two of us.
Yeah, so I can hop in and out, basically.
Right.
So that's the idea behind it. Yeah.
Okay.
Like link is pretty tight, man. Like
it works.
As far as I've tried to play with people with machines and link, it was quite like stable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I only had like once I was in the wrong network, and then my neighbor logged in and changed the tempo. No, but the rest works.
Yeah, because basically everybody can, if they have the code, they can log in and fuck with your shit, right?
We have a quite open Wi-Fi here in the house. So if we're on the same network and the same Wi-Fi, you can be in the same link.
Well, I mean, if there's anybody with no life and too much time on Sunday, we can expect them to walk around your studio and find a network with a laptop with Ableton.
We just use like a direct connection now between the computers.
Yeah, like a wired connection. Yeah, that's better. Yeah. Okay. That should be good. So, Kami and Fadi and Mike, have you worked together before, or is this your first jam together as well?
We worked together before, no?
Did you say something?
We jammed before, but not with Fadi.
No.
Jammed before, yeah.
No, we haven't. I mean, for me, this is the first time with those two.
Okay.
And I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
Awesome.
It's also with you guys. So.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Actually.
Oh, sorry, man. Go on. Because when I was living in Berlin, I did not ever see anyone to have a jam with. That's my loss, I guess. Yeah, man.
It sounds like you guys have a very nice or an interesting hub of creatives going on there.
Yeah.
So Kate, tell a little bit about the studio complex that you're in right now? Because I heard some stuff that you have Matthew Johnson around and everything. Or
No, I mean Matthew is somewhere else. It's not in the same location.
All right.
Dasha has also her studio here, and it's basically big building with a lot of bands and like some electronic artists here.
Nice.
So is it like? I mean, we have a similar situation here. You know, there's like several studios in the same building, and we don't really visit each other all the time. But still, it's really nice to be in a building. Well, sometimes we do visit, you know, it's like, let me hear my track on your speakers, blah, 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 that kind of stuff. Or do you have a spare 909 lying around?
Yeah, of course.
Usual stuff.
That kind of stuff. But it is really cool to if you walk in and you hear like a different flavor sort of spilling through the door. You know that there's some busyness or some stuff going on everywhere in the building. You know, that does help to get, you know, this creative vibe when you enter the building. Basically, is that similar to where you are?
Yeah. You have always like music from all the rooms everywhere. I mean, the thing is, we are not so connected here. I mean, I know a few people around, but I'm also like a morning person, so I'm quite early here. Dasha is more the night person, for example. So usually I meet her when I go and she comes.
On your way out, yeah.
Yeah.
And Fadi and Kami, do you have your studio there as well, or are you visiting Mike for this session?
Well, I'm visiting him for this session. I have my studio in my living room, basically, or I don't have a living room, so I just have a studio room, basically.
Nice.
And so it's nice to kind of get out of my headspace into another studio, into another room. Awesome. And I set up my stuff here, so I guess it will be fine.
Cool. So can you run us through what you brought? What will you be using on Sunday?
Yeah. So I just brought my live setup, basically. I'm playing live every now and then, and I've got my modular with me. I don't know if you can see it a little bit.
No, but you can tell us what's in the modular.
It's quite simple, actually. It's I've got two analog voices and 2 digital voices, and a couple of filters and stuff, and another sampler from Make Noise, the Morphogene.
Is this the same setup that you used for the Clockwork set that I saw last year?
Yeah.
Nice. That was massive.
Thank you. Yeah, it's basically the same setup without the SH101. So I just brought a little bit less.
Yeah.
The modular is it's just a sound source and a couple of effects in one box, basically. And
how do you? Oh, yeah, okay. The Octatrack, is that what you use to sequence it?
No, I also have this Make Noise DNA sequencer as a sequencer. So
right.
Okay.
And the way I play live is I usually have, for all my sound sources, I also have sequencers. So they are running independently, and I can switch patterns independently. So
cool.
I'm not forced to kind of one track, basically, so I can play with different patterns.
So how do you usually approach your live set? Because there are so many ways to do it. Some people have they prepare some basics things like basic patterns or something like that, and then improvise with them. Or do you actually write them on the fly? What is your approach usually?
Actually, I always try something different. But the last times I prepared a couple of patterns and just filled up all the machines with patterns, basically. and then I play with the patterns, and I am able to manipulate them and change them on the fly, and stay on one pattern and change it up completely, and switch from pattern to pattern, and from machine to machine, so I can always get different combinations of things. So I think that's basically at the moment the most fun way for me, because I'm having this little safety net where I know, okay, here's this pattern, and I can play with it, but I'm not completely. I don't have a completely blank page where I have to, start from scratch. So
Right.
I always have something small going on, basically.
And do you have a way to pre-listen whatever you are going to add to the mix, or do you memorize what's in what pattern?
I mean, I memorize the patterns as well, so I make little notes in a book. But I also have of course, with the mixer, a possibility to pre-listen and to hear what I'm doing before I'm
Interesting.
putting the fader up. Yeah.
So
Are you
how
using that
I-
a lot? Sorry, I have a question about that because
Yeah,
it's,
yeah, me too. Go,
it's like
you
with
go
pre-listening
first.
stuff. Oh man, that's that's a really interesting one, because pre-listening, I've never figured out a way to comfortably do that with modular setups or with live stuff. So, but it sounds like you're pretty comfortable in the way that you're using that. Can you dig a little bit deeper in how you're doing that part? Because
Yeah, I think the solution for this, in my case, is that I don't rely on the modular too much, like you are doing probably.
shit. Okay.
So, I mean, I just treat it as like this kind of two-voice synthesizer, basically, and I can just pre-listen to it from the mixer,
Yeah.
And I mean, the last 2 or 3 times I decided to set the whole live set up with a DJ mixer, because I just like the flexibility. I think it's much more. I mean, it's much smaller and compact in a way, and the cue works much better in a live situation than on a Mackie mixer, for example, where you have the monitor out going into your monitors, and like when you solo something, like all the rest, is gone. So
makes
with
sense.
the club mixer, I think it's much more comfortable to play live at the moment. I mean, for this setup,
Yeah.
especially for small setups. If you're doing a lot of effects stuff, then maybe it's better to have more auxes and groups, maybe, and more routing flexibility. But with this kind of small compact thing, it works quite well. But I mean, there are some possibilities to pre-listen in the modular environment as well, as there are a couple of quite straightforward mixers available. I think you probably know them or have some.
No, it's like I know of them. There's a couple of ways that I can think of them. It's just that in the modular patch flow, I always have this thing where I once I start pre-listening to something, I don't know. I actually don't think I've ever tried pre-listening any of them, because it always felt like the moment it gets in there, I want it to interact with the rest of it. So it's there's kind of this delay in between the action of fading something in and playing with it, which never felt comfortable with the setup. But
but do you mix all the modular sources inside the modular, or are you going out with multiple tracks?
I'm going out in total in 16 tracks, I think. So I have 1 until 4 is just drums, like kick, snare, hi-hats, ride. 5 until 8 is bass, two leads and something jingly arpy that I can just do whatever at any time. And then there is 4 stereo effects, so reverb, delay, 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 and I can send all the all my lines just from within the modular. So if I want to do accents to the effects and stuff like that, I can just tweak it all from on the modular. Mm-hmm. But on the mixer side, it's basically one setting and balanced as good as I can get it, and then just never look at it again because I'm playing with the rest of the setup. So it's
all right. So you're not playing with the mixer then?
No, not really. It's I made all kinds of little sub mixers in the modular itself. So, like for example, if you take a matrix mixer, for example, and you take an input from whatever synth and then you send it to those effects, then you can basically just play all the effects from that way, or by taking a mold from any dry signal and molting it out to your wets or to a mixer and then going to your reverb, then you can make your own little accents.
Okay.
And that's kind of how I did the effect side of things. So it's all on the mixing, or not on the mixing board, on the modular in front of me.
The modular, yeah.
Basically.
I've got a question for you, Colin. Yeah, do you use like one of them performance mixers? Like you got little modular performance mixers?
You mean the? Do you mean specifically the WND one, or?
Hey, Megan.
Yeah, I think
Megan
so.
is saying hi.
Hi, Megan.
Hey, Megan.
No.
But I think you have like quite big performance mixers where you can pre-listen on the performance.
Yeah, they are
mixer,
so.
right?
True.
Yeah.
True. Yeah, they're there. That's.
But I don't know if that's cool or not because I use a normal mixer. But yeah.
I guess it kind of works. It's always with the more functions there's on a specific mixer, the more I get annoyed over the functions that are missing in there. So it's I always have like the smaller ones and then chain my own thing out of it.
Because I was thinking, Colin, maybe another solution is, I don't know, get 4 modules with a stereo output, put them in your system, and get a Zone 96, and connect those 4 outputs from your modular system to the Zone 96. Although it's a bit of a different workflow, but then you could pre-listen on the Zone 96 and throw effects on there in on the two aux sense. But
no, exactly.
It's a different workflow, you know.
And that's kind of the biggest thing is like how to get the pre-listen done. That's pretty doable. It's more how to get comfortable with it while playing, and that's the part where
I just saw a comment. I don't know where it is now. Like here, like if you pre-listen while everything else is going, you kind of lose touch with the stuff that is running very quickly. You know, like you get confused. You know, if you're concentrating on what you hear in your preview. Then you know your mind is kind of torn between what's going on in the room and what is and with DJing, of course, you don't have to really worry about that too much because it's a pre-recorded thing that you're pre-listening. You just want to make sure it's matching the tempo or it's the right track that you're putting on. But if it's a live instrument source and you still have to tune it and get the sort of the sound shaped in the right way, then it can distract you from whatever else is going on.
No, and that's I think what I was thinking of mostly when I was asking that question, because I find it very impressive to be able to pre-listen while in an analog live set like that and keeping everything rolling in the present while still also listening ahead, because the counter argument of actually wanting to pre-listen is that you can prepare that ultimate sound and bring it in instead of going like, yes, I'm going to drop something, and then this epic cosmic fart noise comes out.
That's why I like to pre-listen. Exactly. Yeah.
And that's what I especially like about playing live with DJ mixes, because you have the cue mix knob where you can blend the cue in. And with most, I mean, you could do that with a normal mixer as well. But I think it's much easier because I'm also used to playing DJ sets, so I think it's much easier on a DJ mixer.
Yeah, I actually do pretty much the same as you, Fadi. I got my instruments connected to some of it is modular, some of it is just other hardware, but it's a mixed setup of sources.
Yeah.
And if some of it is, I'm basically programming entirely new sounds on the fly, with a chain of stuff behind it, even with effects and stuff.
Yeah.
All as in a sense, it is modular, but it's not like a Eurorack thing, But once it's time, once I've basically done my thing with that synth or with that chain, and have faded out, I go to the preview and kind of make a whole new setting on the fly before I decide to bring it in. So
I do exactly the same.
Yeah, and I, for some reason I can do it, and I also take the time to do it. I'm not too worried about things being sort of repetitive because first of all, it's fine to be repetitive at some point in the set. and on the other hand, it's nice to have this once you've got something, you've sculpted it so it's going to do something relevant, and once you bring it in, it's going to have some effect, and more or less the desired effect. And of course, it's a race against the clock. Sometimes I'm just tweaking away, and fuck, no, this is not it. This is not it.
It's taking too long. It's taking too long. Yeah.
And at some point, you have to decide. Okay, fuck it. I'll just go with it and then bring it in and just deal with it. You can always put more delay on it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Question from Psych Nerd, I think. That's the name. Do you generally focus on your real-time moment or think 2 bars ahead, like 4D chess, I guess? When you bring in modulations, blah 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 blah. I don't know who this is directed to, but I kind of just explained how I do it. So maybe Robin, how do you do with it? Do you have imagine things?
If he's I have a bit of ideas. Of course, when I listen to what's happening, I get ideas like, okay, I could do this or that and throw it in. Or when I hear something and I'm working with my digitone and sculpting a sound that I think like, okay, this will fit, then I would do it like that. But it's so I am sort of in real time responding to what I'm hearing, what's already happening. So if that is real time or 2 bars ahead, somewhere in between probably. Yeah. I don't have like a fixed plan. Okay, I want to do this or that or that or that. No, I'm.
Well, I think there's it is very hard to explain or to understand what's actually going on in people's minds who are improvising in real time, who are playing live, and often people think, well, there must be some plan behind it because it kind of makes sense to me what they're doing, but I can tell you honestly that, and I maybe everybody here can confirm, we are really just most of the time just completely winging it. It's like it's a total. No, seriously. It is just it puts you on the spot in such a unique way. You are when you're playing live, you are in the moment. You are dealing with whatever is happening, and there's really no time to think. You're basically acting on your intuition, and you're basically just doing whatever the hell suits best. And the decision moments are milliseconds. They're really, really short. And it's like, okay, I'll go with this, and it's almost you're almost half realizing it while you're doing it. And so there's like the point of focus and the point of thinking is either lagging behind the moment of doing or before. It's like a really in the moment thing. So it's even though it sounds like, oh, this must be planned, or this moment is amazing, blah blah blah. It is 9 out of 10 times. It's just you are thinking yourself. Once you hear what you're doing, you think, oh fuck, I fucked up, or you think, wow, this is amazing. So it's as much as a surprise to the performer as it is to the audience.
Yeah, but
when
I think
I said before that when it goes wrong, I just make the hand claps, do like it's right.
I mean, looking as if it was intentional, or making it look as if it was intentional is a big part of it for sure.
Yeah. But that was one of those things where. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Now, what I wanted to say is what is an important factor, I think, is that we do know the equipment that we are using. We know that very well. So we know really well how to play the equipment we use. And that's what enables us to make all those split-second decisions that then eventually, like often, work out very well. You know, so there is definitely. It's not that we're just doing something.
Actually, touching on that, I once stepped into. I used to have the studio space back in Utrecht, and there was. I don't know. We just had like a massive jam session with musicians from all over the place, and at some point, at somewhere at like 5 o'clock in the morning, I walked back into the studio to grab some stuff, and there was this one guy sitting behind the piano, and he was playing the most mind-blowing stuff, like all kinds of little up structures in the high range of notes, and then touching down very expressively into something else.
Did you press record?
No, it was that was the thing. I ran out of tape by then, and that was when I still only had the Atari to do everything with. But it was. But I just sat there listening to him for like 15 minutes, and then he just looks over his shoulder and goes like, "I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I don't play the piano." And it's like he was just completely absorbed into that thing. It was just like, I like these movements with my fingers, so that's why I do this. But the guy was actually a singer and guitar player, but that was just his way of touching that instrument and going like, hey, I interact with it in this way because that's what I think expresses well with it right now. But that's
it's a good example of what I just tried to explain. You know, I mean, it is a very intuitive way of communicating.
And that's actually the other part is where I used to study jazz trumpet like 20 years ago or something like that, and I was always just listening to my teachers, and first I had a teacher and he was continuously just hammering on bebop, just bebop, you know, just all the time, just you have to do this melody and that one, and then you know, just give me 2-5-1 exercise and everything until I knew everything by heart. And at the end, it was just like playing a standard, and from the beginning till the end, there was no room to do anything because you were just repeating melodic lines. And then I switched, I got a new teacher, and he was like, all right, play something. And he started the standard, and I was playing and everything. And he said, like, stop, listen, what are you doing? So like, well, I'm improvising. I said, like, no, you're not. This is the most dead censored train track that I've ever heard in a long time. You know, like, this is not improvising anymore. This is just repeating melody. So he said, you know what? You can play one note during this entire take, and it's got to have all the power and force behind it with everything that you want to say. And he just played the track, and it was just, we had like these stupid little CDs that was basically just like this bebop band playing on doom, 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 and everything. And he said, like, okay, watch me. And he was just sitting there for like 2 rounds, 3 rounds, and was almost getting awkward. And he grabs the drum and just like, and he puts it down. He said, like, yeah, that's what I mean. And his entire thing with that was like, yeah, there is 3 ways of focusing on your improvisation. The first one is you're listening to everything that's going on. The second one is kind of looking ahead at where things could be going. And the last one is never forgetting where you are right now. And if you feel like changing something right now in the moment, that's where you strike. And then you sit back again and you look at where everything is going.
Like a sniper.
Yeah, it was really, his whole approach was just like, play less, and the things that you do, let them have impact and weight.
Make it count. Yeah, make it count. Yeah,
and I really liked that because it allowed me to listen again to what was going on and not feel stuck in what I was doing, so that I had my hands free and could do something that I actually wanted to do. And that was kind of liberating. Like, I quit that school a year later to just start experimenting with other things, but in terms of improvisation, like, yeah, you're listening 2 bars ahead, you're listening 2 bars behind, and you're doing stuff now, you know, and that's you have all these different cycles going on at the same time, and the trick is just keeping in touch with all of it, and at the same time forgetting that you're paying attention and just flowing with it, I guess.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I mean it's a great story, and I think that pretty much sums it up. And I think one thing that is important for the thing, I think that we have to remember if we are with a group of what is it, 7-8 people, even jamming blindly for most of the time. Listening is the thing that is probably gonna save our ass. Yeah. The stuff is going to sound out of the speakers anyway. With so many people, there's always something going on. Yeah. So just wait for your moment and kind of have the right dosage going on is the challenge, I think, here with so many people.
Yeah, correct.
Listening is half the job. That's basically it.
Cool. So, I think I saw some stuff in the comments. They go so fast. I always forget it. I saw one and I never mind. Maybe move to Kami. Kami, have you played live in this way before or collaborations?
Yes, but it's been a while. Like, it was actually when I was at uni, I had to do it because it was part of our assignments. We had to do live jams so we could present a project, and it was really fun. I really enjoyed it. Like, the part of the improvisation kind of side was to me, so I was the one just improvising with my drum machine, doing little fills and things here and there. But I actually never played live on my own. Only with other people, and I think I quite enjoy that idea a lot. Because I think if it's just me, I will just kind of freak out a bit because I have this control freak, and I want 4 or 5 hands to be able to do everything. So I think I will feel more comfortable because I enjoy more vibing also from other people and listening and just trying to fit basically. Yeah, literally.
Awesome. That sounds good. Yeah. So what is your arsenal? What is the stuff that you what did you choose to bring to the jam for Sunday?
For Sunday, I have my modular with me. So I got my modular case here, which I have Elements, which is my go-to module basically.
Nice.
Pretty much I use it for all my tracks. I can't help it. I love it. I've got the Verbos, the complex oscillator as well. So those would be the 2 modules, plus the Verbos, the multi-stage, which I will be using to sequence both. And I've got the formulator and also got filter and a delay.
There we go. Yay.
Everyone else was trying to look around the corner.
Sorry, I was just pointing and you were like, what is she doing? Sorry. You can see now, I guess. And there's a filter and a delay from Dreadbox, and the amp and tone as well, which the Verbos is gonna go through it. So I'll see how it goes, and I'm really excited just to keep and follow up with you guys. Yeah, really, just literally winging it, as you said.
Awesome.
Is that a moisturizer standing right next to the speaker over there?
The Knas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not intentional.
But you dry hands by washing your hands so much. Come with a virus, mate.
Fantastic.
Hello.
Hey.
Oh, that sounds like a fun setup.
Yeah, all back into the frame. So, Charles, have you decided what you are going to bring on Sunday?
If everybody's going to take a modular, I maybe should take something else this time. But I'll probably take my modular too, and I can take you guys there because I'm on my laptop. So, what's up?
Yes.
I think this will probably be it, and I always take my delay. And most things are basically my pastel instruments, and I could take some more things, but I don't know what to take.
Well, we have to fit everything on the
table. Yeah. So that's also a thing. And I know Colin has
actually.
Whoa.
Well, it's actually I'm kind of thinking to not bring my modular for this one.
Really? Are you serious? Oh man, that sounds weird. That sounds
No,
weird.
yeah, it's I don't know. I was kind of thinking like the last couple of times that we jammed, I always did on my modular, but
Yeah.
well, you have this massive library of synths and fun stuff to play with as well.
Oh,
so
you want to shop the shelves?
Yeah.
I just might.
Yeah, that's yeah.
You know what? I'll bring it along, and then we can always patch it up if we feel like
Yeah,
it. But
yeah,
it's,
exactly.
yeah, you know, it's like there's if there's 3 modular systems, well, probably 4 because Jochem has one as well. Then
Yeah. Well, we have some time. We have time, you know, so you
I
can
might just take
assemble.
different stuff, and you know, you can
Yeah.
you don't have to use it all at the same time. Yeah, nah.
That's the thing.
wire up all the
It
things.
doesn't have to
If I
run
take-
at the same time.
If I take all my studio, it's going to be a problem.
Oh man.
But it needs to fit on the table, right? So,
Yeah.
no, man. I think we're going to do a great job. I don't see everybody is a seasoned veteran. I guess so it shouldn't be a problem, you know.
It's gonna
So
be fun.
it's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah.
What's the little box you have sitting right there in front of your modular?
Which one?
There's one with all kinds of blinking lights. There.
Oh, that one.
Yeah.
Oh, this one.
Little green box.
This
Yeah,
box.
what's that?
Oh, fantastic.
This is basically the Pioneer Squid.
This is a sequencer, huh? That's a
It's a
sequencer, right?
sequencer.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And it basically it's hooked up to the whole studio. So Ableton is on, but I don't look at it anymore. So I can do basically all my MIDI stuff is hooked up on this shit, and it just controls the whole studio and the modular. So
Okay.
it's pretty nice. Yeah, it's sweet.
Megan
Yeah.
just said that she will be bringing her modular, so plenty of modular stuff.
Plenty of modular stuff.
Okay.
Maybe we could try to link them this time and send sequences to each other or something. I don't know. Should be, I don't know.
I can bring a sequencer rack.
Seems interesting.
Yep. Okay. Good stuff.
Yeah, it's just nerding out, man. I'm just nerding out of the possibilities we can have and maybe do. You know.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, man. Sorry, there's a question.
Nostradam is asking about our influences for modular. Oh, for modular, especially for modular. Anything anything to say about that? I mean, do you have to be influenced by any of these people to get into modular at all? I don't know.
I'm not sure.
It's just another instrument, right?
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I only started listening to all these people after I bought my modulars.
Oh yeah, man, that happened to me. That happened to me so many times. You know, when I did a release and then people started naming names. Oh, it's just like that, and then I never ever even heard about these people, and then I started listening to them because of it.
Yeah. No, exactly. It's like
It's a good way to discover new music.
Does anyone
for
know
sure.
what's his name again? Kid Bolton and Kid.
yes.
Yeah. Do you know that?
Actually,
That's
let me grab
Oh,
some
awesome.
stuff. Because
yeah, man.
He's sitting
'Cause
next door.
I know that was like Dick Rijmakers. I think that was electronic music before even like it was in the 50s, 60s or something.
The
I
guy
think,
marks,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tom Disveld.
Tom Disveld.
Yeah, all that.
That's like from Philips, Holland, man.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
there was this, there was this, you know, the sort of like the collected BBC radiophonic workshop people, you know, and there was something going on in Holland around that time as well, in Eindhoven, with Tom Disveld. Who else? I'm very bad at names, but there was, Rijmakers. There was this collective of people messing around with. Stuff which
Tape
weren't
loops.
supposed to be, which weren't really supposed to be electronic instruments or instruments in at all. Okay, Colin, what are you going to reveal? This must be a big thing.
well, no, I'm just grabbing because this is part of the this is that Kid Bolton. No, what is it? Hang on. Yeah, this is that elf. It's from no. This is the one. Tom Disveld and Kid
Okay.
Dalton. The wonderful music of wonderful world of electronic music. It's like this. This past year, I've just been really digging into.
What year is it?
This is what was this 1950? What was this one again? Probably someone can tell in the chat, but I think it was 1958 or 1959 or something like that. It's like
Nuts, man.
and I don't know. I've really been digging into some of these older guys. Like I found this one, which I'm super happy about, and this has been really being kind of the soundtrack of my lockdown these past couple of months, because it really it made me so happy.
What is it? What you find striking about it, Colin?
About this one?
Yeah.
The very massive big chord in track number 1. That one really just made me so happy, and also the whole vibe of it being kind of proto elevator music in a way. It's there's just this pure happiness on that entire record. It feels so whimsical in a way, but at the same time very well produced in a way. It's yeah, I'm very happy about that. And but then this one has been the one that I really got crazy about. It's this is Jean-Jacques Perret, the Prélude au Sommeil, and it's I've been digging Discogs and everything all year to try and find one of these, because this record has really I've been obsessed by this one ever since I heard this. This is like 1958, 2 sides of basically ambient music. But it's him playing an bandoneon, and it just sounds so crazy, because it really sounds like something that could have been released in 1970s or 80s or whatever. Like it's.
Can you explain what that is? That instrument?
I'm actually not quite sure because it's the only things that I've heard from it is from him playing it, but it sounds like an orchestra in a box in a way. From this first record clearly is something that where he just discovered it. Like Jean-Jacques Perret became good friends with the inventor of the instruments, and later on he started exploring it more and more, and he became very popular, and Edith Piaf actually sent him over to the States to start doing TV shows and everything. And there's a lot of hilarious things of him together with Gershwin. Kingsley, sorry. The guy who later did Popcorn. I'm mixing all kinds of things up right now. But they really started this whole very, very happy vibe of playing all these very comical cartoon music things in a way. But if you go back to where he started, and you hear this record, it's really this super moody, dark, gritty, ambient, droney record, but from 1958, and it's just mind-blowing. So
yeah, it's always extraordinary to find these people that were kind of in their complete own universe, using an instrument that was
way ahead of their time.
Unexplored, and even with very, very limited amount of possibilities, cranked out these amazing compositions. I mean, it's true for everybody we've just discussed. Like, and also one I would mention from the same era is Raymond Scott. You know, that's another amazing composer / instrument builder who was designing his own instruments and doing incredible things with it. It's really cool to just listen to those things and realize how they were made, with such limited
exactly it's like pieces. I think the one who just asked the question talked about Wendy Carlos. Well, yeah, if you're talking about limited tools and means, then of course, this soundtrack, The Clockwork Orange, is it's ridiculous. I mean, the whole thing is done one track at a time, and it's full on Bach. It's ridiculous.
Nice. We got together to prepare for Sunday, and now we got Colin crate digging with.
It might be my fault, man. Might be my fault, guys. Sorry. But you never know if we get something like that in the jam. So
If the sync
You never
fails,
know.
we
You
you
never
never
know.
know with new equipment.
Yeah, let's
man.
live splice some tapes on Sunday.
Yeah.
Oh no, that takes probably hours to just, oh, yeah.
Sorry, let me.
Go back to it. I don't know what's going on with me, but I have to go to the toilet again. I'm sorry.
Okay, maybe it's a beer. It's a beer, I think.
Yeah, I might grab another one to just
Well,
shoot
there you
a bit
go.
like sorry, 1 minute. Yeah, probably less.
So
Okay,
actually,
then.
I have another question to Mike about the jam, because you said you have everything connected to one mixer in your studio, right? So I guess Kami and Fadi are coming into that mixer, and then you
No.
basically run the mixer. No,
Actually, I have my Midas here with all my stuff, and Kami just has like 2 mono outs from the modular, and Fadi has the Model 1 here.
Okay,
Okay.
I have it for him.
and
now.
okay, and they're all straight going into your sound card.
He gets like a
No, we're getting into his mixer as well.
actually.
Yeah, okay, that's what I mean. So it's going through your Midas, and
Everything
that's
is
the
going
end.
through my mixer in the end. Yeah.
Right. Okay. And are you going to interact with the mixer, or are you just leaving it up to everybody to just set their own levels and just go
I
in
think
and out?
I'm gonna interact with the mixer because I have all my effects here, all the sends, so I can also. I mean, everybody else will come also to use the sends and everything and change the levels, but basically, I maybe just in between. I just sit here and send their stuff into my sends and see what happens.
Cool.
Okay. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about your setup, Jochen?
Yeah.
Or are you going to set it up? with all
Well,
these
that's
people?
what I was thinking about, because usually the last couple of weeks for all the remote jams, I had a pretty extensive setup. Because I've basically was doing half of the sound, and I do the same thing as you, Fadi. I've got this DJ mixer, the 96, which I've got as my hub basically, and I agree with you. It's a really compact and flexible performance instrument. It's like you know where everything is. You have the powerful EQ filters and effect sense and stuff. So it's that's like the place where I bring everything together.
Yeah.
But of course, with so many other people in the studio, I have to kind of make a choice what I'm going to use, because I only have 6 channels, and or I have to do like a submixer. Set up a submixer before that with everybody else's signal, and make a balance there, and it just trust that everybody will take care of their own balances. I don't know. It's something I don't know. The last time I did it, when I did it here with the closing with 7 people, I did have level control over everybody individually. So, just in case, I didn't use it much, but at some moments where I thought, this is just really, really busy, and if we reduce it a little bit, it's going to sound better. I did that a few times during the whole session. But, not to interfere too much, but just to make sure, just to have a more sort of coherent stuff coming out in the end. So I don't know. I mean, there's several options. I can do it. I think the best thing we can do is just when we gather in the afternoon and the setup kind of sort of emerges. See what everybody's bringing. How many channels they have, how much. How it sounds. Whether it's really dynamic or sounding compressed enough to use as is. I don't know. We'll just see. There are several options to put everything together and to have some type of control. Yeah. But to be honest, I think the best way is just to leave the levels up to the individual performance as much as possible, and just make sure everything is connected, and audible. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And what I'm going to use exactly, I don't know. Usually I've got my 909 set up, and maybe I'll use the machine drum as well, and some filters. And I got a 101, which is always very, hands-on, very quick to do sort of improvised lines. Can't go wrong with that one, to be honest.
Yeah.
And but usually, like I said, I've got chains of stuff. So, if I have the 101, that's always going through something else, maybe through two other boxes. So I have some additional flavor to add to it before it goes into the mixer. And the same is true for, I've been using this ARP Odyssey, the Korg sort of clone, and with a bunch of modular effects behind it. I also have like a chain of, on my drum chain there's also a bunch of effects, like a filter and some modular effects and some auto boxes. So lots of ways to sculpt the sound before I add it to the mix. Usually my sound sources are very simple, and then I have like this whole chain of modifiers behind it, so I can sculpt everything. And I know them quite well. The range is big enough to go in many different directions, and it's controllable enough to get something happening quickly. That's my way of doing things. But it's all in step mode, running in step mode. So I don't do any patterns prepared. I have nothing running. Everything is basically programmed and improvised in real time.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
For this kind of jam, it's probably the best way, to not prepare anything and go with the flow,
exactly.
and see what you can add, because
exactly, that's exactly it.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, with so many people, you can easily sit back for half an hour and just listen what's going on, and then choose your moment to to add something. You'll have plenty of time. I mean,
sometimes we did in the past. We literally did.
With the other jam,
things flowing, and then, for example, I'm taking a relatively compact setup with me, but which is very effective. And sometimes I was just listening, like, okay, this is good as it flows, so then I'll just let it flow, and then after a while I think, okay, maybe this or that will be a good addition, and then I throw it in.
That's a nice thing, that you can rely on other people and really think about what can I add, or what can I take out. So
when it goes wrong, you can say it wasn't me.
Play safe.
Are you using the internal sequencer on the 101?
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, it's the.
Are you talking about the food, or?
Ramen,
or ramen, or banging,
No, that's ramen.
So the 101 sequencer is it's just a really fun, simple. I actually use it the complete old school way, So I trigger it's triggered. The notes are triggered by the 909 rim shot. And then the CV out of the 101. So then if I do like notes, the CV will go into the filter that actually also filters some of the drum chain. You will never hear it, but I basically write two lines at the same time, or one line that manipulates two things at the same time. So it controls something in the filter in the chain, and also it makes the notes on the 101. And somehow, if you have two of the same thing going on, which have very different results somewhere, in both functions they do, there's still some kind of coherence emerging from that, So it's especially with like minimal sort of lines, then it's cool that they do, they follow the same kind of movement. And it's really simple and effective, and that's what it should be, I mean, it's because I don't want to spend too much time pre-listening and trying to figure out the next sound. I just want to be able to come up with a new line in seconds, and that's usually what I can do with such a simple setup. And it can go all the way from completely atmospheric because of the chain after the 101 to like really sort of percussive type, typical synth sounds, so it's it's pretty flexible. I don't know if I'm going to set it up though, because we might need the space on the table. It's big enough though. We'll see.
Yeah.
Right. Cool.
Yeah, cool.
I don't know. Should we discuss anything else? Yeah, maybe there's one thing about the communication. Who thinks it's a good idea to have this kind of open video chat running between the two studios?
I think it's handy to have that just in case, like, even if one of us has an idea, that we want to share with the rest, that we can quickly, discuss things on the fly. I think that it's definitely a good thing to do.
Should it be voice chat or text or sign language?
I think that the problem, I mean, your room is a little bit bigger. We cannot really set up like another stage here, because I also need to get the other computer for all the audio and video set up somewhere here, and then we're running a little bit out of space. Then.
Right. Then let's
emoji only communication.
Then
well,
let's keep it in text,
Yeah.
Or pigeons. Is there anyone have pigeons?
Ravens.
We don't have enough latency yet.
Yeah.
That could work.
Yeah, we'll figure something out, because I noticed that doing the remote jams with, the ones that I've did so far, some people are completely fine with just going blind and have no clue how things look on the other end and just follow the music. But I've also had instances where it really helped, you have like one camera pointing at the desk, so you can see the other person's hands at least, or like get a feel of the vibe of the other room. It does bring some kind of extra connection to the whole thing, because if it's completely blind and there's no communication for such a long time, I have no idea what even with maybe the optional tempo changes, how we're going to deal with it. There has to be something. But it's just going to be you, Mike, and Fadi and Kami, right? So there's no other person who can be the communication manager.
I mean, I could ask a friend if he wants to join, maybe, yeah. But it's really, the problem is you don't see it, but I put everything into the back of the room now. Everything which is also normally on the table here. So everything is full. There's a mixer here on the other side on the floor. So it's only the space for the performance left at the moment.
Right.
Wow. Nice.
Okay. Well, I don't know. Well, maybe if anyone thinks of something during the week, we can have a try, or we can have a solution.
By the end of the jam, we'll have a perfect system.
Yeah. Yeah.
Monday morning, we have Monday.
We will be prepared by then. Yeah. Ready for a good one.
Fantastic.
Another one from Nostradamus. Can you all recommend some good modular gear on a budget?
Maybe those little Pico modules, those very small, slim modules.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Pico, you got 2 HP.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Those ones. Yeah.
He's talking about that he has a Bastel Castle. They just brought out the drums, because my friends sort of like them, and they just brought out the Bastel drum thingy, and you can patch it also, and it makes random drums without actually using a sequencer. It just goes mad. So it's pretty. Just generative drums. That's a cool thing.
It's always so hard to recommend anything to anybody, Like if people ask, what should I get, I mean, the good thing is in this time, there is a crazy amount of choice of instruments and modules available. And the good thing is you can get a pretty good picture about what it can do or how it could fit your setup if you watch demos or any video tutorials or whatever. So that's a bonus, and it makes it easier. But ask yourself, what do you want to do with it? What do you want to achieve, and then maybe zoom in and sort of focus focus your search a bit because
on that
it's
part,
all good.
yeah.
There's nothing out there which is completely useless. You can always do something with it, something interesting.
Yeah.
Or probably something that could be a very good starting point if you're on a budget, but also if you're just starting out with modular. I'd probably just say go Doopfer. It's really you can never go wrong with that. It's not going to break the bank, and it doesn't do the work for you. So something that's very good about this is that you actually get to learn how modulars work as you progress with it, and you get to buy cheap upgrades to it and go like, hey, actually this is the direction I more like to take, and then you can find all the specialized modules that do just that one specific function very well. But if you just start out with a Doopfer voice for I think a couple of $100, you can get like a full Moog voice with modulation and everything on it. And
well, my advice is to definitely plug them in the right way, because they will blow up.
Sounds like you have you're telling this from experience.
From experience, man.
Yeah,
Blowing up my and then it smells like fire and burn and for a week.
It smells so bad, and then you have this
really
box
bad.
of shame in the corner where you put your broken modules. It's bad. Still
The corner of shame.
Seriously, it's like this
Buy some new
box
chips
of
for it,
broken dreams. It's not good.
Fantastic.
I guess it with the amount of stuff that has gone through your hands, Colin, you've had a fair amount of fuck ups, right?
Oh man, it's it still happens every couple of months where something just blows up. Like the last thing that I had was I was super excited about these distortion modules. I bought a pair, and I plugged it in, and I also have this very confusing power supply, the whole Hinton thing, which is super powerful but also slightly weird because it uses different connectors and everything. And I plugged it in and immediately blew up the first one and was like, oh shit, I did it the wrong way. And then I grabbed the other one and I plugged it in and I blew up that one too. And it was like, oh.
Yeah.
So
just
that
blew
was
up
it,
a couple of hundreds of euros, man.
It's like, it always happens. So I'm changing my bus boards again. So I don't have that shit again.
Yeah,
that's very important too, to buy good bus boards so you don't blow up your shit.
No, it's really bad because you'll be reminded for weeks because the smell just doesn't leave the studio, does it?
It never leaves.
No, it always sticks around. It's horrible.
It just reminds you of
Every morning you come in, it's like, oh yes, that's right, I blew something up.
That's the smell of failure for you.
To remind you,
The creativity killer. Or if improvisation. How do you say that? Inspiring for some dark album or whatever,
Yeah.
But,
oh man. Yeah, the nocturne for the lost modules. That's
exactly. Yeah. The Requiem.
Yeah, man. Let's go Requiem. Rip.
Well, I see somebody saying I blew up my wasp filter, and that was I blew up my wasp filter.
Okay.
I blew up my wasp filter too.
Killer wasp.
Killer wasp.
Oh man. Fuck wasps anyway.
Great filter though, but yeah.
Yeah, the worst one I've ever got was not blowing up, but you know how you can get these sort of fresh orange juice bottles from some supermarkets. You can tap you can have your orange juice from a machine, basically, like fresh orange juice. And I was like, I had a new controller that I really decided this is going to be my new workflow, like spend like 2 days with a manual figuring everything out. And then one morning I was ready to start like my first project with it, and I had this orange juice thing, and I didn't close the lid. And you know how this orange juice, is if it's fresh, the sort of bits sink to the bottom, and you have to shake it before you drink it. So I shook it, and the whole bottle emptied like way over straight on the controller. And I thought, what do I do? So I put it upside down, but in 15 minutes, it was destroyed. It was, faders were stuck, and anyway.
But everybody must have an accident with just fucking up gear. Like how professional you are. Everybody must have blew up something or destroyed Something.
Well,
you have a knob in your hand, or I don't know.
I embarrassed myself. Colin has admitted it. What is your your story, Charlton?
Man. Breaking somebody else's stuff, you know. Like, you know, when you borrow
Okay, wow.
buy it is breaking, man, and then you don't have the money to buy it.
Oh, that's Colin's box of shame, I guess.
Is that your
That's not too big. That's not too bad.
No, I ordered a
thought it was a whole
Chromecast and it just
crate.
arrived.
Okay.
No. Changing rooms.
Are you guys there in Berlin? Did you do anything stupid like that?
I've been lucky until now, so.
Lucky you, man.
Rookie.
Same.
Okay.
I mean, like, so far, just
Lucky
knock on
you.
wood.
What case do you have? What case do you have?
Modular case.
Yeah, modular case. Yeah.
I've got an Intelliger one.
Okay.
The 7U one.
But I think some can take minus and plus, but mine only takes the minus. So I have to. I think it's red stripe down instead of up. If you do it up, you will smell.
Of course, yeah.
We can try later.
I always.
No, don't do it. Don't. I'll tell you. No,
There's only one way to find out.
not before Sunday, please.
Only one way
I
to find
always
out.
triple
Yeah.
check. I always triple check because I'm just too frightened, you know.
Yeah, but sometimes everybody knows I'm a bit of a smoker. I smoke, and then before you know,
It happens, Charlie. It happens.
Yeah,
Exactly.
just
It happens.
heartbreaking, man. One time I thought I blew up the whole case, but then man, it's just heartbreaking, man. Especially in these times, Corona time.
Okay, I'm glad we got all the fuck-ups out of the way, so Sunday will be no accidents, hopefully.
For sure.
I'm not bringing my stuff for sure now.
Yeah.
You want me to screw something in, mate?
Fantastic.
So what else, people? I mean, do we still have to cover anything? Any ideas, any plans for Sunday? Or are we comfortable now with our sort of limited plan of approach?
Yeah. I mean, also regarding the room and all, I think that's all going to be fine, I mean, also like what I said, I'm taking a compact setup, so my setup will not take up too much room, although it will be effective, So I think we will be just fine regarding that. And
there's more space than we had last time, Robin.
Yeah, true.
So, okay. Yeah.
I'm also taking my DB4 mixer, so I can level things out on my end as well. So I think all will definitely be fine.
Maybe one thing we can try out, maybe between Mike studio and here, is the tempo change thing, because I think that's an important thing to know before we start.
Yeah.
And then we can kind of use the whatever communication line we end up using to communicate that, suggest a new tempo for the next hour or 3 hours. I don't know. So maybe we should have a go. See if that works.
Do you set all your stuff up on Sunday or?
Well, yes. I mean, because my stuff will be here, so we can do those kind of tests anytime you want. But of course, the rest of the people who are joining here are going to be here on Sunday. So Sunday afternoon we'll have the final setup ready. But I don't think that's necessary to do these tests.
No. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Okay.
We should get a random generator for the tempo.
Leave it up to fate. I like that.
Yeah, Megan is also curious how we're going to deal with that. Well, I mean, we'll figure it out. You know, it's something we have to test, and then we should be fine. But I think for such a long set, it will make a difference. You know, if we can. Who will bring the gabber cake? Oh, of course, Charlton.
Oh yeah. I'm still doing some research for the gabber cake.
I could make them on the fly, so no problem from my end.
I've got a few wave shapers in my so I could do really disgusting things.
Okay.
But I think that's not suitable for the first few hours, I guess.
Bring it anyway.
Start with it, you know. Just start with it, you know.
Start with the.
Yeah, but man, well, how would it be to start at 200 BPM and just do it the other way around? Just start really fast and then go down. How would
and end with ambient.
I'm up for that.
Yeah,
that would be funny though. Yeah.
Like speed call, like nah, that's not my thing. Totally not. But yeah.
So gabber cakes definitely in the sound palette for Sunday. So.
Yeah. I think. I really like when I think with Joachim when we done our stream of like we went everywhere. Also, it was just from ambient to sort of noisy stuff to gabber. I don't know. We went everywhere, so I think it's nice to explore, you know. And I only would love to explore, of course, just to Yeah,
absolutely, but the thing is, with many people, with many people, and also with a part of the jam kind of going blind or semi-blind, it's more like being the captain on an oil tanker. You know, you steer, and then after 50 minutes, it sort of goes in
the other direction.
Yeah.
You're stuck. Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't an oil tanker, but yeah, exactly.
Was that not that Titanic or?
Don't get stuck in the canal. Yeah, exactly.
I don't know what happened, you know.
Yeah.
Don't get stuck in the canal. Exactly. No, but I think I mean the one advantage we had, Charlton, when we were doing our thing was that we used a multi-clock, which can change double and half the tempo and swing the tempo, and then once you got that running all the gear, then you can go into pretty mad territory very quickly. I think I used that one with the jams I did with Colin as well, right? So the one in one that comes to mind is maybe that was the first or the second set we did at the festival in Nijmegen.
Yeah.
Where we went from sort of like beatless improvised weird shit to gabber and back in Detroit-y stuff in the middle, all in 1 hour in an hour.
That was a good set. I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, but it was less restricted because we used this, like just your setup and my setup, and we had the clock, which could make things like go weird very quickly, which was great. There's unfortunately no way to use that because if I use the Octatrack as a master clock, because of its nudge feature to be syncing to Mike's studio. It doesn't.
Could.
I can have it run off the Octatrack, so put it behind.
Yeah,
the
exactly.
Octatrack. Yeah.
That would be a good idea.
Maybe, yeah, but it will only affect the setup on our side, on this side, not on.
True. No, that's right.
But maybe that can be interesting as well. If you have some small little sounds.
Yeah, we double the tempo, and Mike is just
double
still.
the tempo. But you never know how things play out. You know.
Yeah.
I counter with triplets from my side.
No, but that's kind of the thing. Like you can do something interesting if you take a multiplier and a divider in series, then you can actually speed up in slight increments, which will remain musical in a way, where you don't double it, but you go up 1/3 speed or something like that, and you can still have it make sense in a way, but it's a little risky though. But
Yeah, very, very.
It's also harder to tell whether you're still in sync if we have a half tempo swinging clock on our side and on Mike's side things are still going like 4/4. I don't know.
Yeah.
We can also try to test this, Mike. Maybe we should try to test this.
On Sunday, yeah.
Yeah, before. Yeah, also. Yeah, there are just enough unknowns to make this really interesting and exciting. I think. I mean, the whole system has proved to work, so I'm not worried about that at all. It is just the extra factors that haven't been tested that I'm curious to see. But who cares? If we fuck up, and we start over. Who cares?
Yeah. No, it's gonna be fun or it's gonna be funny either way.
Yeah.
For sure, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. I think we pretty much covered it, right? I feel pretty confident that we all kind of have a feel of what's going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
I'm just thinking, because nobody else does that, shall I bring my modular or not?
Yeah.
Why not, man? Just do it.
Yeah.
I go
Yeah,
about
because it's like easy to clock on the modular, But I don't know how we're gonna. I don't know. I'm confused now. I'll leave it up to you guys.
No, I won't be bringing any modular, but it is still enough to really, how do you say that? To go crazy if needed. Let's see. MIDI
On
master
the
clocks.
subject of clocks, a question about clocks for production. Do you use MIDI master clocks like the multi-clock also for production? Yeah, I mean the clock I was talking about is always part of the system here. It takes audio from the DAW from Ableton, and it generates MIDI clock or sync or analog clock or whatever. That basically drives anything that needs a clock in the rest of the studio. And it's 4 channels, so you can stop and start each individual channel. You can tune every channel. You can multiply or divide every channel. It's just a really flexible tool to connect a bunch of hardware. You got something like that, right, Mike? Like you've got the EMR, or do you have the Acme clock?
No, I have only my clock from Ableton.
Okay.
Okay.
And the thing is, like, I'm using more and more the Circlone sequencer now.
Ah, yeah.
So I sent MIDI from the Circlone to Ableton, and then from Ableton to all the synths.
Right.
And I mean, I have a little bit of latency, but it's all in a
Small enough.
For me it works.
Yeah.
I also don't have like 5 or 6 synths and 2 drum machines and everything running at the same time normally. So.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, and
but the Acme-
like I guess what you were saying, what is the Circlone is capable of halving the speed of things, and change the resolution of your sequences on the fly and everything. Yeah, so it's kind of like having a clock inside a sequencer. Yeah.
Somebody asked about the clock of Ableton if they don't have it steady. But you have like 2 options actually, which is song mode, and I think you got patron mode or something. And as soon as I switch it to the patron mode, my machines don't drift, and you always have to notch a bit with the latency button bar.
You mean
that's
the
how
track
I
delay?
get my stuff straight. Yeah, track delay. That's how I get my stuff straight in here, because I don't got multi-clock, but it runs pretty fine.
Well, there's one thing that I noticed with Ableton is that if I run it on Windows machines, I cannot get the clock anywhere near stable. It's impossible.
People think it's Ableton. It's not Ableton. It's the fact that the clock comes from a computer and not from a dedicated machine. It's not Ableton.
No, exactly. So that's kind of what made me switch back to using Apple now. And all of a sudden, all my clock problems are gone. Really, Because that's what I really noticed, that while I was still using everything from Windows, like for the past years, I've always done everything Windows based. But yeah, just not being able to sync my expert sleepers to modular stuff made me switch back. And then all those problems were gone. So it's
Okay.
so that could very well be it. Like if you're having an unstable clock and you're using Windows, then you're out of luck, man. Just swap over.
Yeah.
Yeah, or use a hardware clock. I mean, it's
Hardware
it's one of
clocks
these.
are always more stable than.
Yeah, I
computers.
would say, you know, it's I know it's always a bit strange to buy something for your studio, or to spend a pretty significant amount of money on something that doesn't make any sound, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, I would say clocks and sound cards are definitely things you have to get sorted out if you want a
absolutely.
stable recording environment,
Sure.
you know. So if you have a stable clock and a really high quality sound card, your all the stuff you
Yep.
get into your system is going to sound so much better.
It's like a piece of infrastructure in the studio that is essential and makes everything a lot better. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the foundation of your house, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Without-
Well, in a
it's
way,
like,
yeah.
Without that, you're just not gonna.
Doomed.
Doomed. Yeah.
Okay. Well. Okay. Well, let's just continue doing the questions. Alex. He's asking you what is the snare that you use
Yeah,
in your
The
set.
snare in my. Wow, which one? I'm kind of thinking like my snare is probably a bit of a layer of multiple things. Like I have,
Wow, you stack sounds to become a snare. Wow, in a modular.
Yeah, it's like
wow.
I have a clap, and then I have the mutant machine, and then I have the fracture.
Okay.
And I stack those together, and then they are mixed together and sent into my into a compressor, and from there on they are like sidechained to death by kick drum.
Nice. So that's like a €5,000 investment if you want a snare like Colin.
Yeah, exactly.
Like one shelf, like in the
Yeah.
Yeah, one shelf,
My
and
snare is a whole
that's a snare. Yeah.
No, but that's kind of that snare sound, and then you can kind of lengthen the tail on the clap or on the machine or on the fracture, and then bring in little different elements. But I'm still kind of tweaking it because it always feels a little. It feels very one-trick pony-ish right now, that particular sound. So I'm still looking for ways. So I'm actually glad you like it because it's the only sound I got right now.
Is that true for more sounds in your setup? Like
you mean that I layer
stack-
them like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like, for example, all my synth voices are always 2 oscillators and probably 2 filters in series, and white noise entering the filter path somewhere. Plus an LFO to also manipulate the filter frequency itself. And then from there on, all my signals are always multed out, so I always use a dry signal, which goes directly to stuff, and then I take the other signal out, which I then use for a secondary layer of processing, which can be anywhere from delays to reverbs to phasing or whatever.
And this is true for both your live setup as in your studio, or
yeah,
for one
it's
of them?
basically this is my core setup for live, and in the studio, basically what I do is I do more of that. It's
and is
just
the reason
zooms out.
because you just like the sound of like a more sort of assembled type of instrument, or is it about the control you have when you're tweaking it?
It's a big part of it is control. Like I only have 2 hands, and I'm controlling sometimes up to 16 different voices with things. So I'm always trying to bring everything down back to those 2 hands. So I patch everything kind of like a pyramid of sorts, where I try to control everything right here in front of me, and from there on it just keeps on branching out into bigger things of control and regions like that. And then sound-wise, a big part of that really comes from I'm just always looking for ways to make those oscillators sound less like just your average subtractive synthesis in a way. But in the end, that's what it is. It's just like one massive subtractive synthesizer. And trying to find ways to make things more interesting, then quickly I end up with, well, lots of oscillators stacked on top of each other to make one sound. And but yeah, so that's probably the biggest difference for when I'm working in the studio, is that I have a lot more time to spend on one particular chain versus when I'm in live mode, where I just have like 2 oscillators, 2 filters, and make it scream in a way, and have fun with it.
Well, there's a pretty a point that I sometimes think about, because if you want to keep things simple, you can either choose to create a chain of stuff, so you have the flexibility to shape your sound more and make it sound less like the standard sort of raw waveforms that your oscillators are generating, or your synth. But because I always have a little bit of a unless it's done really well, if a bass line is just a pure square wave or something like that, it needs to be like a really good line, because a standard square wave with a mediocre sequence is just boring, and mediocre. And so it's always a question of making things so complicated that you have all this control, and making things simple enough to have the flexibility. That's always a really fine balance.
No, but that's it's really on that front where it doesn't really take a lot to get your sound from just doing just a straight thing into something a little bit more organic that slightly moves on its own, where it kind of behaves like its own little ecosystem, and then you have influence over how drastic you want it to behave. But in the end, it's really kind of modeling a certain behavior from your instrument, and and then you can let it play and do its own thing while you work on something else, and you can rely on it because it's organic in a way that it will remain interesting until you get back to it.
Yeah. So Charlton and Kami and Fadi, you all use modulars with your studio production and live stuff. What do you have a certain approach for sound design? Like, is there anything going on that lets you manipulate the sound or make the sound, sort of make it less standard in a way? Or do you care?
Normally I really try to basically use LFOs to make sounds move in a way with filters and stackable things. Of course, some effects to make it more spacious sometimes, but normally I would, it just depends on my mood, where I go. You can do so many things with the modular. That is, sometimes I have just drum patterns, and sometimes I have massive bleeps or glitches coming out of the modular. So I never really know what's going to happen. And that's why I use the modular. I never know what's going to happen. So, it's one big space out on the modular. But it normally happens out of LFOs and filters, of course, and
so you set it up in such a way that there is already some movement going on.
I mean, I also have a couple of LFOs always running, and random generators with attenuators between the sources, so I can really I can really crank it up and take it back to where I started off. But the way I keep things kind of interesting is I not only with the modulars, I put everything on my mixer on individual channels, and then just play the mixer with effects and returns and feedback loops, and
feedback loops.
And playing the filters and on the mixer basically. So I think
Nice.
you know, your hands can also be a source of modulation, basically. So I really like to also like Colin explained to layer stuff, and then, you know, to kind of play with the layers on the mixer and yeah, just keep it interesting that way, you know, that it's not only like one loop dry running, but rather, you know, playing with the loop and playing the faders on the mixer.
Yep. Exactly that. Yeah.
Very similar for me as well. I really like enjoy feedback loops through my desk. Also with this, I actually forgot to mention that I have that. It's like a spring reverb module from Charlton, which I actually brought for the live show. Sorry, you can't see it.
Almost, yes.
Oh, nice.
So it sounds super natural, and yeah, I'm really in love with it. Like, just like my little baby. And creating loads of feedback loops with it, with the desk as well, with the modular, and like Fadi said as well, just recording and layering things on top of each other. And I think my module, the elements, there's so much I can get out of it. It's just insane, you know. Like it's
true.
So I love that module. Yeah.
Nice.
I have the elements here as well, and it's endless, basically.
Yeah.
You know.
It's crazy, absolutely crazy. Like I can get so many kind of sounds out of it. Like sometimes I'm just like, how the hell that happened? I don't even know. Like it's just so random sometimes, you know. Yeah.
I actually sort of forgot to mention my Boston time post tape delay. It's mad.
That thing is insane. Yeah. You brought it when we did our session here. It's absolutely crazy.
I will take it again. And it's like,
nice.
I figured it out. Like you can basically send 1 volt octaves to the machine to make it become even more musical. So it's totally mad. Whatever you do, it goes in shape, and
there's like a delay in there, but also like something with a buffer that scrambles your buffer
through the LFOs. So it's like a sequencer basically. So you go through different delays. So it's totally mad.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally mad.
Yeah, but I mean, the cool thing is, when we did our session, the thing we did, not the thing that we did as a set, but the one that is that we recorded as a bunch of EPs, which is coming out next week, people. You had like a very simple sound source, but like the stuff that happened, after going through that thing. It basically created a world of sound, which was, and the way it sounds like it is basically destroying the sound, which it is in a way, but in the way you used it was so musical, and there were so many things going on that you were on a really nice balance between being unpredictable and chaotic, but at the same time, absolutely beautiful and epic, So it's, I think it's a machine. It's in the right hands with you, to be honest. Because I think with that, it can, with machines like that, things can go so crazy and so glitchy very quickly. It takes careful tuning to get nice things out of it. Yeah, to get beautiful things out of it.
You can basically destruct. What I was thinking about is that I would sort of have a melody, and I can destruct the whole melody with that machine. So it totally turns into something else. I had like nice layers of, like nice pads or whatever. And you can basically make it go so mental, like.
Yeah, but still very musical.
Very musical. Yeah, it's a cool machine. It's a cool machine.
I'm very curious now.
Yeah, you'll hear it.
You'll hear it. Yeah, it's a nice machine.
Okay, so anyway, I would say I think we've pretty much covered everything as it comes to our kind of say hello and see each other's faces before we take the plunge on Sunday. Unless anybody wants to bring something up that I forgot, maybe. Maybe we should give the audience like a last chance to the dress code. Okay, are we going to really discuss this? Yeah, maybe
I'm like
dress
a
code.
hedonist. Can I
Animals,
come
maybe.
naked, maybe? Can I come naked? No dress code, you said, right? No, I'm joking.
Musical style. I see somebody say musical style. Well, I think that's probably the one and only thing that we are not going to discuss. You know, I think we'll probably discuss tempo and kind of make a sketch of sound that we start with. You know, like you know, we'll have some signals going and we decide before we actually hit play. Okay, this is how we're going to start. But from that moment on, it's all going to be totally up in the air. You know, that's how it usually goes, and that's how it usually ends up the best. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna wow you guys with my tango skills.
Okay. Wow.
3, 4, triple time. I don't know.
Can we have a separate camera for that or not?
Okay, well then I guess we've covered it. So I would say
I think we've covered it.
I'm really looking forward to this experiment, people. I think it's going to be epic.
Same.
I don't think anybody's ever done this so far, you know. I mean, the remote jams are something that other people started doing now. Also, people who are, you know, watching our streams and visit our Discord server, but connecting 2 studios with 2 different crews, with all completely different but very skilled and seasoned musicians from different styles and different backgrounds. I think it's, I don't think it's been done before, so so it can either turn out completely
another first.
Another
first.
It feels like going to the North Pole again.
Yeah.
I already hear the Terminator song, man.
Oh yeah, and are we going to accept requests? No.
Request? Oh, you want me to rap?
We're gonna be playing Darude Sandstorm all night. That's
Done sense of, yeah.
There we go.
Or that Ecuador song. Remember that one? Well, yeah, probably.
The World Cup track.
Yeah.
Okay, well let's just do a quick thing that we always do at the end of the stream. Give everybody opportunity to plug whatever they are doing at the moment, stuff they've got coming out, any mixes they're doing, any streams, anything. And maybe let's start with Charlton, because I know you are on now, right? Or you've just
I am. I just been on, or I was on at the same time as this. I recorded some. It was actually pretty like glitchy live set, like without any beats, so more experimental, kind of ambient kind of, or maybe not. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, but it's who is it again? I know who they are. It's like System Revival and Monuments, and they do something nice now. So maybe if people want to watch, they can switch to that.
I think you already posted it in the private chat, so maybe Sander can put it in the comments so people can check it out. Kami, anything you want to make people aware of what you're doing? Anything you want to plug?
Yes, I have 2 remixes to come. One is coming out next month. It's for a Spanish artist called DAFR, and it's coming out on Matter Wave Records. Some cool dudes in there, Mike Storm and also Pushman, like from the Spanish lot. And I got a remix just approved before our session for Alexander Kowalski, so that should come out. I'm not sure when, but it will come out soon. And I have like a sample pack that I made for Shirtler, a Swiss company, that should come out in the next month or 2 as well. And there's a big variety of sounds, a lot of big kicks, since a lot of modern production is centered around that somehow. But there's also a lot of bass lines, and do you wanna spoil how
you created those?
Well, basically, Shirtler, they lend me this mixer, which is called the R2 Format 48. It's an analog mixer, and it's like a modular mixer. So basically, they lend me that. They have this project called Artist Community. So they basically lend the mixer to a few artists and ask them to create their own sounds and record through them, which also is this Spring module is part of the mixer. That one that I have here, actually.
Something I'm dying to try on that mixer, by the way. It's that mixer is the one with the CV inputs, right?
Oh, you're talking about the Zaal mixer or the Zaal?
No. It's called Arthur.
Oh, right. Okay.
Arthur Format 48. Check it on Charlton. That's the name of the company.
Mm.
And well, I made all my sounds and recorded through, and also like there's like this like warm feature like that just sounds really amazing in one of the strip channels. It's really good. Like, but my favorite part of the whole mixer is this guy, which I couldn't resist, and I had to get that one for my own self. Like after I had to give the mixer back, you know. So awesome. A lot of kicks also went through this, which like nice. A lot of like quite like heavy kind of sound kicks. Basically that's it. So
awesome.
far, and more things, but I can't talk about them now. So
of course,
maybe next time.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks, Fadi.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've been locked into the studio for the last year, so there's some pretty interesting stuff coming that I can't talk about at this moment. So, but yeah, maybe next time. So
okay. Well, at least you've been productive. You've got some stuff that you're happy with. That's nice. Cool, man.
Yeah.
Any streams you're doing? Anything that you've got coming up or have just done maybe?
Well, there's going to be a podcast at the end of next month for the Terminal 5 people, and this is going to be fun. But yeah, I mean that's basically it for now, because I'm basically at the studio the whole time in the moment.
Cool. Any dub techno recommendations from Fadi? Oh, okay. Please saying please. Maybe maybe that does it for you. I don't know.
I mean, the last interesting release. I mean, there's a lot of modern dub techno that is not too interesting for me, actually, because I mean I'm really stuck to all these old recordings from Basic Channel and Rhythm and Sound and the whole Chain Reaction crew. But one release that really sounded quite fresh to my ears was this record from, I think it's called Morton B or something. It's still available at Hardwax, and it's quite he's got a, or she, I don't know how he or she looks like. It's kind of a nice texture in the sound, and quite fast and old school basic channelish. So that's kind of what I like. So Morton B at Hardwax available.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks for the tip. Mike, anything you want to share with people?
Actually, I'm recording jams here. I actually, what I told you earlier, with Kami, we already recorded some material. I think we're gonna do a release from that also later this year. I have also more guests coming in the next weeks and months, and I'm also wanna release like a solo EP with my own stuff. I just need to finish my mixdowns, basically. It's almost
find the time. Find the time.
Yeah.
That's the thing, eh?
Yeah. But I think also at the moment I'm not really rushing so much with the releases. It's a bit weird. I mean, I only have this all the club tracks, and I don't know if it's really necessary at the moment to release like every 2 months like a record, or leave a little bit of space in between. And yeah, I mean, we're gonna stay more or less all year here in Berlin. That's at least what I think. So I'm gonna just stay here and record stuff.
Plenty of stuff from you to look forward to. Okay, nice one. Okay, cool. Colin, any spoilers? Anything you want to share with people? Anything you've got coming up?
Yeah, it's lots of things actually coming up, but I'm still tweaking some last bits here because my studio is finally done. And
I didn't know if we could talk about it, but yes, you're building a new studio. How is it coming along? Coming along?
It's pretty fucking awesome, really. I'm super happy because it's
nice.
Just today I noticed that I had both my doors closed, and I noticed like, hey, no one's gonna hear anything that I'm doing. So I spent like 1.5 hours just studying the trumpet again out of the blue, because I was like, fuck it, I can make as much noise as I want. And
did your speakers arrive?
Not yet. The speakers are still stuck somewhere in Dover right now, I think. So
okay.
It's like Brexit is still going to take its toll, but I think those speakers will be here somewhere in the next month, I hope. The amp is already in the country, so so the Bryson is already ready for it. But I'm meanwhile now I'm doing some final tweaking on one hand. I'm really digging into audio chains, like really wants to get at least one very good high-end tracking chain going for both leads and mics and stuff like that.
One stereo or multi-track?
It's I'm still kind of shifting between if I'm gonna do one mono tracking chain or if I'm gonna make that one stereo. It's gonna really hurt my wallet if I have to do it stereo. But
and this is another. This is a thing that you can spend an entire episode of one of these on. All the possibilities to.
Dude, that's just my last week has been nothing but just going into all the different vari moves and all that stuff. But it's. But so that's one thing that I'm really digging into, like really getting my audio chains up and running, so that I can really bump up my own recording standard. Nice. The other thing is I'm going quite hard into upgrading my stream side of things as well. So
will you be streaming from that location as well?
Yeah. It's
nice.
Right now I'm in talks with Faber, which is the broadcast division of Amco, and they are advising me on a couple of things camera-wise, what we're going to be doing and stuff like that. And it's I got some guys who are developing all kinds of things in Unreal Engine that can be connected to the cameras as well. So when that shifts, everything can shift in AR at the same time as well. So the whole studio is really
next level.
Yeah, it's like the idea was really like, hey, I kind of think that even when we can play outside again, I'm gonna enjoy still watching some streams because there's been so much fun happening online. I'm sure that there's gonna be plenty of people who would never come to an actual club who still kind of got to experience so much music online. Like 90% of my audience does not live in Holland or does not even live anywhere close. So
they could never attend an actual gig. So
they wouldn't be able to attend anyway. Like, hey, good for you that you're playing in Alkmaar. You know what the fuck?
Exactly.
And so now I can really, I'm gonna really build something in a way that this studio is also at the same time gonna double as an online stage, at least for the to kind of continue the way that I did my streams last year, but at the same time also bump that up in what I can do creatively there, and also how I'm gonna record everything and how we're gonna share those tracks and stuff like that. It's basically
super dope.
Yeah, it's just gonna be last year, but then 10 times more fun. It's
version 2.0.
Let's call it that.
That sounds super exciting, man.
Yeah, it's gonna take a little while longer before I can really get it running, but as soon as it's there, I'll let you guys know.
Awesome. Yeah. So you said it's like a studio, but also a stage. Does it mean it's also going to be used by other people besides yourself?
It's gonna be usable by other people as well. That's for sure.
Okay.
And it's still my studio, so I'm just working there like 7 days a week. But I am very much looking into expanding those sessions in a way, and especially given that the camera tech side of things, it's going to see like a substantial increase in quality. So I do want to, at the very least, invite interesting people over to have one-on-ones or to really dig into the modular wall of things. at the same time, the thing that I'm really looking forward to is collaborations with visual artists on this one, because of how it interacts with both Unreal stuff as it also interacts with a projection setup that's gonna be doing all kinds of things in that room as well. So it's basically really an augmented space wonderland thingy. So it's yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Sounds amazing, man. Awesome. Yeah, looking forward to that. Any time, any sort of timetable, sort of plan when you want to be operational?
I want it to be operational in February.
Okay, it's one of those.
It really is one of those. But I'm kind of thinking that it's it might take at least one more month.
Okay.
But at the same time, I think it's going to line up nicely because what I haven't really shared yet is that the second release from past year's recordings is at the vinyl plant right now.
Yay!
Yeah, that's going to be fun. So that's that one should take a couple of more weeks, and that's probably going to line up nicely. So then, so I'm thinking somewhere April, May, something like that. I hope to have streams going again. And then it's summer and we can all enjoy outside and all, but just not do the streams as much. But it's yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Big stuff, man. Awesome. Robin, anything from you want to share?
Let's see. I have a new remix out in a couple of weeks, but I'm not able to say yet where that is. I have new other music out. That's also, it's still in the pipeline, not really planned yet when exactly, but the label approved it, and I'm just working on a lot of new music now. Not only techno club tracks, but a lot of different stuff. As you know, I got a new synth a short while ago, and it's really triggered my creativity to to sculpt a lot of new different sounds. So yeah, let's see where that all goes. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Well, yeah. Thanks again, everyone. I think I want to share that, of course, you know what we are. The reason why we're all together today, the stream we're going to do on Sunday, connecting Mike's studio in Berlin with Stoor and do a remote jam with 2 crews on each side. Very, very excited about that. So tune in on Sunday to watch this. We're aiming to start streaming around 7. But it all depends on how the preparations go that day. You know, it's setting everything up, making the technical things all work flawlessly and stuff. But it's going to be around that time. And we don't have an end time set, so we'll see. I think Sander is just dropping the event now in the comments, so check it out there. And yeah, the release, actually I did a jam with Charlton. We did this how long ago, Charlton? Like 2 months ago or something?
Was it 2 months? I think it was in before November maybe, or
yeah,
something like that. Yeah,
so we did this we did this live thing here, and we streamed that, and we spent a day recording, and that actually resulted in 3 EPs from one day of improvising. We found we found like 38 tracks, and we narrowed it down to 18 or something, and we kind of touched them up, and yeah, so it's actually you can listen to it as an album. You know, it's a really cool. I think you know, there's a very common theme throughout the whole thing because it's all from one session, but at the same time it's all very much all over the place musically. So it's a pretty crazy one, and I'm really happy with it. This is probably hitting. This will probably hit Bandcamp on Friday, Bandcamp Friday, this Friday. 3 EPs, so have a look out for that. And yeah, I want to encourage people to have a look at our Discord server. It's the Knob Twiddlers Hangout Discord server, where you know we have knob twiddling discussions and gear talk 24/7, basically. And that's pretty much it. So looking forward to Sunday, guys.
Yeah,
likewise.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, should be good. So thanks for people who watch this on Twitch, and hopefully see you back here on Sunday. And yeah, that was pretty much everything. So thanks, friends, for hanging out. See you later.
Thank
See
you.
you on Sunday.
Bye.
Ciao, ciao. Ciao, ciao.